together, and together we will prevail. We will prevail through national unity and global solidarity. The antidotes to this virus are national unity and global solidarity. The antidote to this virus is the human spirit. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Tedros, for these opening remarks. We will now open the floor for questions. I will remind journalists to be very brief and ask only one question, so we can try to take as many as possible. And again, you can ask the question in 6 UN languages plus Portuguese. For journalists who are on Zoom, you will need to go to settings to find your language. And because of a bug we have, Arabic is under Korean. So if you want to listen in Arabic, you have to click on Korean. That's a bug that we have in a Zoom, and it's not really our fault. We will start with EFE news agency. Isabel is online. Isabel?
Yes, do you hear me?
Yes.
Thank you. Yeah, gracias. Voy a hacer la pregunta.
Yes, I'm going to ask the question in Spanish. Thank you for taking this question. In several countries in various regions, some in Latin America, pharmacies are selling diagnostic tests for coronavirus so that people can carry out the test at home. And in some countries, it's being done with authorization from the health authorities, and in other countries, it's more or less informal. And I'd like to know if the WHO advises that people carry out their own self-testing if they think that these tests are reliable, and if what they see is the risk that someone with a false negative result, if the tests are not reliable, and so someone could think that they are healthy and could then transmit the virus further, since lockdown measures are starting to be relaxed in many countries.
Thank you for the question. So there are a number of diagnostic tests that are currently available and are being sold globally. In fact, there's hundreds of them. And the tests that you're referring to are these molecular tests, or these PCR-based tests that can diagnose somebody as having active infection. It's difficult to answer that question because I don't know exactly which tests you're referring to. What is really important is that the tests that are being used by any governments or being sold, that there's clear results of how well these tests work. There are the possibilities that if they are not validated, we call validated, where we test them against known samples of whether the samples are indeed positive or negative. It's very difficult to know if the test result that you're getting is a true result. And as you've highlighted, there are risks associated with having a false positive and thinking that you are infected and you are indeed not. And more importantly, if you test false negative, where in fact you are infected and the test tells you that you're not. So there are some risks associated with being sold over the counter. Having said that, the ingenuity, the rapid development of these tests is very positive, and we welcome this innovation. We welcome the speed at which these tests are being made available. But it is important that they're validated. It's important that we really understand how well they work. Bottom line, though, is that everyone that is out there needs to adhere to public health measures regardless. These include hand hygiene that the DG has just mentioned, and you've heard us mention well, with washing your hands with soap and water or an alcohol-based rub. Practice physical distancing, so where you're physically distant from another person. Adhering to the public health measures that are put in place by governments. Practicing respiratory etiquette. These are the things that must be adhered to all the time while we work through the use of some of these tests that are coming online.
Thank you very much, Dr. Van Kerkhove. Hope this answers the question from Isabel, and it was on self-testing. Next question is from Joan from Meetings Today. Joan, can you hear us? Joanne, can you unmute yourself, please?
Sorry, I did.
Okay,
Thank
please.
you. Hear me now. Thank you. Meetings and conventions are part of the tour and travel industry, and we are incredibly confused about how WHO classifies mass gatherings. Around the world and in the US, groups don't know what that means. We're finding different standards within the United States, and I just saw someone mentioned what France is doing in terms of the ability to travel to meetings. We need guidelines about how WHO defines mass gathering and how we're going to go forward. Thank you.
So thank you for the question. I will start, and maybe Mike would like to supplement. So the question around mass gatherings, there's different ways in which people are defining gatherings, just gatherings in general, in terms of you've seen different governments put in place more than 5 people, no more than people, no more than people. Mass gatherings are obviously much larger than that. What we do is we have put out guidance which provides a risk assessment-based approach that evaluates each gathering as it is defined, as it is developed. What is the gathering itself? Where is it taking place? How many people are involved in it? Is there any way in which it can be done remotely or through video? Is there a way it can be postponed? And so what we're trying to do is lay out the criteria in which those decisions can be made. Those decisions must be made on a case-by-case basis. Because not all situations are the same. The area in which they are carried out have different ventilations, some are outdoors, some are indoors, so it depends. It's an unsatisfactory answer because we can't give you a yes or no, but what we try to do is we try to outline all of their criteria that you would need to take to be able to make that decision. The same holds true for travel. The same holds true for holding meetings some places. All of those decisions need to be taken on a case-by-case basis to determine if indeed that meeting needs to take place, and if so, how that could be done safely.
Thank you very much, Dr. Van Kerkhove. Next question is Radio France Internationale. Jeremy, can you hear us? Hello, do we have Jeremy from RFI?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, please go ahead.
Thank you. Just had a quick question.